the ting and maybe one or two other things for a Pioneer grammar, and then go to Egyptian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So, topic is animals. Let me just make sure everything looks okay. Oh, let me get the chat open also. That's what I'm forgetting. Can you keep an eye on it too?
Yes, I can.
Yep. So, German. The bear.
Der Bär.
Der Bär. The cat, die Katze. Hello. It's weird. Oh, okay.
Die Katze. Der Bär.
Der Bär.
Die Maus.
Der Bär, the brown one.
Indeed. The dog.
Der Hund.
Hund.
Das Tier.
Das Tier trinkt.
Das Tier trinkt. So there's a verb. Voila, a verb. And trinkt, we're going to take apart. We've got a stem and a tip is our ting. Our ting is tip.
Okay, you have some noisy background sounds.
That's probably the fan in the laptop, I think. Let me put this underneath, see if it has any effect, good or ill. Oh, it seems to have softened.
Oh,
Das.
yes, that
Better.
sounds
Das
better.
Tier frisst.
Good. Oh, do you know this one, frisst? Where
Yeah,
it
for
says
an animal to eat.
Yep. Do you know the English cognate?
No.
Fret. It comes from fra and itan. Itana. Fra as in fourth, I guess. Forward.
Der Junge isst Pizza und der Hund frisst Reis.
Boy eats pizza.
I don't know.
Don't know what. And the dog. That's right.
Wir haben einen Hund.
Einen Hund. And that, of course, einen has a structure. Einen, stem, and...
I don't know the English cognate from this fra itana thing.
Oh, I said fret.
Fret.
Fret, like to worry.
Die Katze frisst.
The cat. Put it in the chat. The cat eats.
What does that have to do with an animal eating?
Something is gnawing at your soul.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just an intensive derivative of the eating root.
Yeah,
Nothing to do with
wow.
guitar frets. But,
Die Katze frisst die Maus.
Interesting.
The cat's the mouse.
Wir haben eine Katze und einen Hund.
Wir haben eine Katze und einen Hund. Haben is one. Wir haben, verb. So the N is going to reflect some kind of ending.
Der Bär frisst einen Apfel.
I didn't grab my notes, but I'll try to reconstruct it from memory. What I was looking at for the ting. Der Bär frisst einen Apfel. Cat is eating the mouse. Die Katze frisst die Maus. Das Tier frisst. Okay. Welcome back to the Language Institute. I'm your VerbAlly, and today we're joined by Levi on Discord.
Hello.
So, can you tell me the present tense forms of sein?
Yeah. Ich bin, du bist, er, sie, es ist, wir sind, ihr seid, sie sind.
Good. Du bist.
Was that too fast or
Well,
good?
that's alright. I know this paradigm pretty well. Wir sind, ihr seid, spelled with a D, and Sie sind. So we're looking at least two different roots in this case. Wouldn't
Yeah,
you
we
agree?
see bhu
Exactly.
and ashti.
So I feel like Om would be a good one for this first person. Let me get. I suppose I could do it there too. How can I get a Macron? There we go. What I have in mind is that it would be that Om would be the basic one, and that you then have a rule that says drop the first vowel of the suffix if your root ends in a vowel. So that would give bim, and then that would become bin by a special dissimilation rule to repair that one form. In Old High German, it was bim, by the way. And for bist, I think I would say the same root, and then it's ist is the underlying form of the suffix. So you just have that vowel drop rule. That's all you need. And then ist is different though. What would we say is the basic one for... So it's a new root here. It's the S root. You could as is, I suppose. And then the ending would be just... Well, it needs to have the T, and I would put the I in there too. So far my endings... Om ist it. Then for sind, it's that same S root, is root, but with the vowel omitted. So we'd need some kind of rule that says, for this one verb root, lose the vowel in the plural forms. And then I would want to do not an I. So because I want to avoid the letter I, because I want to keep it real simple and say whenever our suffix or our post-tonic piece has an I in it, it's going to trigger umlaut. But this one does not trigger umlaut. So maybe something like semd is what I have in mind. Kind of odd looking.
Okay. But we want it also, we need it to get the ND here and just EN in a normal verb. Or regular, or whatever.
Could you get closer to the mic or something? It's a little hard to hear you. There we go.
How about now?
I can hear you better.
Okay, I'm no further from the mic than usual, but I'm holding it really close to my mouth now.
So you are closer to it.
Yeah, okay, but it's just in my headphones, and normally it's not a problem, so I'm confused what's different today.
Could be because of the rain. There's a lot of ambient noise today that there's normally not. So this is maybe not exactly what I had earlier today worked out, but something like this. I don't know, I feel like the Z basic one should be different from the VIA, but maybe that's not needed. What do you think? So the change of root happening after du. The other four forms, ist, sind, seid, sind, are all from the S root.
Wait. Wir and Z just always match, don't they?
Believe so.
How have I never noticed that before?
That I couldn't tell you. But let's take these endings. So the sutra would be Om. Starting with Om is kind of auspicious.
Om.
Exactly. Om ist it. Om ist it. And I'm using the semicolon in the sense of anpanini, where it's a dvandva, just a list. Emd. What do you think about this ash D? This is really the only place where the ash surfaces as the diphthong. Seit.
Hmm.
And end at the end. How cool.
Right.
And then we'd have a vowel raising rule here. Of course, an assimilation one. Vowel raising to give sind. And of course, the final voice to stop the devoicing. That's just an automatic thing. That would be a general rule for all word forms. Seit with a diphthong. Of course, that's already spelled out. Maybe an intermediate step. Sind. Yeah. Okay, so let's take these endings and do haben is an important one because it forms auxiliaries. What is the ich
Okay.
form?
Ich habe.
Exactly. So, in terms of our grammar, it's going to be habom. Now here, the final consonant drops to just o, and then o at some point is replaced by that schwa vowel. I'm going to use the zero character. Oh, that's nice, yeah. When something is dropped. Habe will be giving habe. Du, the basic pieces are
Hast.
du hast. That's right, as Rammstein remind us. The pieces here are
So the B will
habis.
drop.
Exactly, the B needs to be truncated. So either we have a sutra that says for the root hab, drop the B in whatever cases they are. Habist, so it's going to be HA0. Then that vowel truncation rule can apply after that. So 0 for the I, and then ST remains hast. Habe hast. And because of syllabification, we're going to get different vowel lengths. Habe has a long stem vowel. Hast has a short one. ZS. What's the form?
Sie hat.
Mm-hmm. And that reflects habit. And there too, double deletion.
Ja, wir haben.
I think the deletion of the B would happen first, as we said. Yeah. So the parts, okay, wir haben is the form. We write it with an N, but in normal speech it's not a syllable ben, but with a syllabic M. The pieces are hab, emd, or something like that. And I think I chose the M here so that it matches the first person singular. And emd both have the M rather. The D will be lost. Okay, the D triggers assimilation. And then the D drops. And then some other changes, the everyday ones. For Ia, what's the form? You there? Levi?
Yes.
You there?
Oh, ihr habt.
Good. We note that the B
Yes,
is not...
can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, the B is not dropped in this
Yeah.
one. I don't know what its deal is.
Well, if we just said that in this root, I think this is the only verb that behaves this way. We can just say the B is dropped before E, meaning letter I.
Okay.
Here, the basic one was add. Id, rather. Habaid. That suffix initial vowel drops. Habaid becomes habd. Hab 0D. And then those meet and they assimilate habt. Although the spelling BT. That's kind of immaterial. And finally, Z, haben again. But this one, H-A-B-E-N-D. So what that means is for that gerund form, habend, gehend, needs to have a different underlying representation, or we just need special sutras. But this is haben 0. So then let's turn to those modals. We've got dürfen.
I can only ever say 6 at a time. Dürfen.
Okay.
Mögen, möchten, können, sollen, wollen.
Können. I'm going to leave möchten aside because it's derived from mögen. Können,
Okay.
sollen, wollen, right?
Mhm.
Müssen.
Oh, müssen, of course.
So.
And there is the last one.
Müssen. I'm going to resort these. I want müssen and können to be together because they have that double stem final double letter. Let's go
Okay.
through some of these. Let's do dürfen. Ich.
Ich darf.
Okay, please continue.
Du darfst.
Uh-huh.
Sie darf.
Sie darf, yeah. Okay.
Wir dürfen.
Yep.
Oh. Wouldn't be darf. Dürft? I don't know.
Ihr dürft.
Ihr dürft.
Sie dürfen.
Sie dürfen.
So which vowel is basic? Is it A or U or is it some third thing? Neither of these.
That's an interesting question. I always figured it was the Ü, because that's the one that goes in the infinitive, which I tend to regard as the base form. Though thinking more upon it now, that may not be the correct analysis.
Well, and
So I suppose we will see what happens
there's never just one
when we
correct
put the
analysis.
suffixes
I
on.
think there might be more and less elegant ones. But as long as your grammar yields the actually occurring forms, then it's a good one. Darfst, darf. So if we just said we get the A form, we regard U as basic, we could say we get A before letter I initial endings, and that the Ich form just copies the Er form, would be one thing, and the T itself drops.
Okay.
Something like
that. Makes sense as a general property of modals, that the Ich form copies the Er form. A lot of modals behave in that way. Ich kann, kann, and so on.
These correspond to the Indo-European perfect inflection, a different set of endings. Alright, let's do maybe another lesson, although we're so basic. The horse.
Das Pferd.
Der Vogel.
Der Vogel. Das Pferd.
Let's see if we see any interesting words.
Die Kuh frisst Brot.
Die Kuh. There the plural is kind of interesting. What's the plural of Kuh?
Die Kühe.
Good. Die Kühe. Eats bread.
Die Ente trinkt Wasser.
What's die Ente?
The duck.
Yep.
Eine Ente frisst einen Apfel.
Eine Ente frisst einen Apfel.
Ich habe ein Haustier.
Do you know this one? Haustier?
Yep. House animal.
Ein Vogel frisst den Apfel.
What is a house animal?
We would say pet.
Yes, indeed. A bird. It's the apple.
Wir haben ein Haustier.
Wir haben ein Haustier.
Es ist ein Schwein.
Sie hat eine Kuh.
Don't have a cow, man. Sie hat eine Kuh.
Sie hat ein Haustier.
She has a pet.
Eine Ente ist ein Vogel.
Eine Ente ist ein Vogel. Could this sentence also mean, just from the sound, could it also mean a duck eats a bird?
I don't see why not.
I do. There is one important difference.
Oh yeah.
What would be the case of the bird if it was eating? If it was being eaten, rather.
Oh yeah.
So what would be
Because
the...
it's der Vogel.
So what would we say?
Eine Ente ist einen Vogel.
Exactly right. Masculine is the only
Wow.
place. Masculine is the only place where you'll see a difference. In plural and the other singulars, the same forms.
Das Schwein trinkt.
Das Schwein trinkt. I'm really mad at someone. The woman has a cow, man. Cool. The horse drinks water. Das wird.
Trinkt Wasser.
So. Let us. We didn't take up the abridgment of Pani last time. Let's review those endings and then go to that, and then we can do Egyptian.
Okay.
Something. Oh, can you? Let's see. What we just. I'll say the. Let's review the Agni paradigm. Is what I'm thinking first. Maybe I'll just read them, and you can repeat after me, triplet by triplet. Sound good?
That sounds good. Yeah.
Agnihi. Wait. Let me do all three, as I said. Agnihi, Agni, Agnayaha.
Agni. Agnihi. Agni. Agnayaha.
That's it. Agnim, Agni, Agnin.
Agnim. Agni. Agni.
That one ends in an N, right? Agnin.
Agni.
The shus form, rather. Alright. Tritiya tabhyam pis agnina, agnina, agnibhyam, agnibhi.
Agnina. Agnibhyam. Agnim. Pis.
Agnibhi.
Agnibhi.
Agni.
Oh yes. We can't end with the S.
Grammarians do, but only grammarians. And if the next word starts with a T or a T, it is permissible, required even. But other than that, it's going to be replaced by some other sound. So the S there is underlying, but only rarely surfaces as an S. By the way, on these BH endings, if we break them down, they look like other pieces put together. Are you able to see B plus S in the chat there?
Yes, I am. I can see the chat very well.
Okay, you said it hides things sometimes, so I want to make sure that. Bhis? What is bhis
Ooh.
in Western
Well, I
grammar?
would just say that it is the third case plural form.
Exactly. But it looks like it could also be a bhi thing with su on it. Then we have bhi joined with that is instrumental, dative, ablative, dual. But is genitive plural, looks just the same. And we have bhi and us can be many things. So these endings look like they might have been composite at some time, but the grammar treats them as single things. All right, the fourth case. Agnaye, agnibhyam, agnibhyaha.
Agne.
No,
Agnipyan.
Agni is
Wait.
not the form. That would be vocative. Hey, Agni. But this
Okay,
is
sorry.
Agni plus Ngi gives what?
Agnaye. No.
Agnaye.
Agnaye. Okay. Because first we add guna and then we select the vowel following one, the one that has the vowel after it.
Pre-vocal.
The one that precedes the vowel. Okay, yep. So we
Pre-vocal.
select that allomorph of the gunated vowel.
Okay, and what are the dual and plural ones there, please? Dative?
Agnibyan.
Agnibhyam.
Agnibhyaha.
Agnibhyaha. Okay, then ngasi is fifth case ablative. Agnehi, agnibhyam, agnibhyaha.
Okay. What was it? Agnehe?
Agnehi.
Agnehe. Agnebhyaha. Agnebhyaha.
Agnibhyaha. Not ne, but ne. Agnibhyaha.
Agnibhyaha.
Then genitive, agnehi, agnyoho, agninam.
Agnehe.
No,
Agnyoho.
no, it's not agnehi.
Agnehe. Is it Agnehe?
Yeah.
Agnyoho.
Nurt agama come into play.
Agninam.
Agninam. Finally, locative.
Agninam.
Locative. Agno. Agnyoho. Agnishu.
Agno.
No.
Agnyoho.
No, we're not there yet. What's the singular?
Agnishu.
What's the locative singular, please?
Agnai. No? Maybe. Because we need to stick E onto the end of Agni.
It gets replaced.
So what happens?
Agno.
Agno.
Keep
Oh, that one's kind of strange.
It is. We saw vibhaktau in the sutra. Navibhaktau. Actually, no, we haven't seen that yet. Where did we? We have bahuvriho is a form we saw. Bahuvrihi also ends in short e and is also masculine, so it inflects just like Agni. Once we understand the Agni paradigm, we know the Bahuvrihi paradigm. Bahuvriho is locative singular.
Suaujas, autshas, tabhyambhis, ngebhyambhyas, ngasibhyambhyas, ngasosam, ngeosup. Suaujas, autshas, tabhyambhis, ngebhyambhyas, ngasibhyambhyas, ngasosam, ngeosup. Tiptas jhi siptas tha mipvasmas ta tam jha tha satham dhvam itvahimahing.
Good. Good to review that.
Okay, something is different. I'm able to hear that tonight. Usually I can't. And the Duolingo I was also able to hear.
Excellent. That's wonderful. Okay, LSK stands for Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. This is the abridgment. We talked about Ukalojraswadirkaplutaha. Do you remember the import of it? What it's telling us? Kala being time. Dirgha means long.
The end time is that long.
It's about
No, I do not remember.
the three vowel lengths that the grammar will talk about. Hraswa, short. Dirgha, long. Pluta, we call it prolonged.
Oh, and
length.
extra long.
And the oo, the long oo, that first syllable is a contraction of oo, and extra long oo. When you run them together,
So
as you must do.
Is this just telling us?
Huh? What's that?
Is this one just telling that these different vowel lengths exist?
It's naming them, defining.
Okay.
So, three vowel lengths, oo, oo, oo. But when you run them together, as in a sutra, it just comes out as two moras. Oo, kalo. All right, can you read 10 and 11 for us? And tell us what they mean.
Uchair udattaha, nichair anudattaha.
Okay, remember ai, even though we use two letters, is a single phoneme. Uchairudatah.
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 Okay, what am I doing wrong?
Well, the first time you said uchair, but it's uchai.
Uchair.
It's not that. Uchairudatah.
Uchairudatah.
Nichairanudataha.
Nichairanudataha.
Not Hindi. Nichairunudataha.
Nichairanudataha.
Okay, what do they mean?
Let's see. They're about the high and low tones.
Okay, which is which?
I think the first one is high.
Yes,
Tone.
udata means
is-
raised. Yeah,
This ud here is like out, but it means up.
that's right. Ni is, we have it in nest and in nether. Ni chair anudataha is the unraised, is the low one. Samaharaswaritaha. Do you recall the meaning there?
Oh, I think so. To some extent. Wait, this is defining the svaritaha.
Varita.
Because you said this was like Greek, and there was. So there's high tone. Okay, so what do we see? We also see some, which is the together, meaning same. I don't know.
The two values, high and low, taken together are called swarita. When
Okay, so high and low. So a svarita is the opposite of an I am.
What?
Is that correct? Do you know this word I am?
IAM?
IAMB?
Yes, but that's...
Yeah.
I don't see what the similarity is. One has to do... That's a metrical unit, but these are
Oh,
not.
okay. Never mind then.
Right, we're not talking about feet, we're talking about the movement of the pitch. High tone, low tone.
Okay.
So high followed by low on a single syllable, that is the swarita tone. Mukhana.
Oh, yes. That's the third tone one that has both.
Not really third tone. It starts high and then becomes low.
Okay.
Mukhana sika vachano nuna sika.
Those sounds which are pronounced with the mouth and the nose are called nasal.
That's right. Tulya sya prayatnam savarnam. Anything there?
The one we just saw. No, we saw svarita. Okay. Oh, that means the same color.
Same color. Good. Let me tell you,
So those
sort of,
are...
by the way, a similar compound, just different in one vowel. Suvarna. Su meaning, well, I think you know su, right? I don't think we've seen it yet in the grammar. Do you know the su prefix?
No, I'm afraid I only know the su suffix.
Su prefix means good. Having a good color, and a syncopated form of this, swarna, means gold.
Okay.
So suvarna is...
What does this su wind up in other languages? How do we see it?
Eu in
This
Greek.
cognate of it.
Eu.
Wow, I would expect that it would start with an H. Usually S corresponds to a Greek H. I guess it got dropped or something?
full form of su in Sanskrit is wasu. So it was probably wesu. In the ancestral stage, in Greek, a W always drops. An S between vowels might have given aspiration at some point, but that would regularly yield eu. And wasu may be from a syncopated like this, which cannot occur. Su just becomes su.
Okay, makes sense.
Tulyasya prayatnam savarnam. That brings us to arnudit savarnasya cha pratyayaha. And there I need a bit of explanation. In a sutra, the udit, the vowels, and yavala replace their savarna too, unless they are affixes. Okay, yavala, how is that expressed? Savarna, it's not mentioned in the sutra. It's taken from a preceding one. But what would be the siglum? How could we say yavala? How could we specify this triplet of phonemes?
Yavala
These red ones,
is
purple
the
and red ones,
sequence we
yes.
want to say. Okay, should be yarn.
Exactly, good. The vowels are called uch. And udit is maybe the trickiest term here. What's your take on it? Udit, we might spell like this. Not retroflex, these are dental letters. Ud and it, they're a compound.
Okay, so single U by itself, and then short I all the way to ta.
No.
So then
No.
all of the
No.
wait.
Let me stop you there. This is the word it.
Okay.
Not a siglum. The first part that you said was right, though. What ud reflects is ut, the dental T. That means just the phoneme u, the short one.
Mm-hmm.
But it is just it. Do you remember seeing, let's see, what have we seen? We've seen kit or ngit. Do you know what kit would mean?
I'm afraid I don't.
Okay, we have an affix kta. The K is a marker. This affix can be referred to as kit. It means having ka as its it.
Okay.
A bahuvrihi compound. It's one syllable, but it is still a bahuvrihi compound. So with that in mind, udit, what would that mean?
That's something that has ud as its it.
And ud just means what? What does ud mean?
Ud is u by itself.
Yeah, so something having just short u as its label is what udit means. Alright, so turning back to the page here, examples with an udit K. If we say ku, or a clearer way of spelling it, to show that the U is indicatory, K capital U. Ku means k, k, g, g, ng, not just K. As in Sutra so-and-so, ku, puok, etc. Tu means dar, tar, dar, tar, na. What would pu mean? This one syllable.
Okay. Oh, interesting. It censored this ku.
Huh.
And it said it was sexually explicit.
Wow. Good to know. So do you see the P and the U together? Pu, what would that mean?
Let's see. The ones that, let's see, it would be ba, ba, pa, ba, ma.
Say it one more time.
Oh, the aspiration thing. Okay, I'll just boo, boo, poo, boo, moo.
No, they're not all going to be followed by U. The U just tells us
Right, but those
the whole row of the
sounds.
alphabet.
Yeah,
Ba,
those
pa, ba, ba, ma.
consonants.
Ba, pa, ba, ba, ma. And the order is standard. It's the plain one, and then the voiceless aspirate, then the unaspirated voiced, and then the murmured, and then the nasal. Ba, pa, ba, ma. What would chu mean? C and U.
The palatal series of them.
Cha, cha, ja, ja, nya. That's right. So the regular old alphabet is also available too to refer to sets of sounds, not just the Shiva Sutras, but the plain old order. They're both made use of. Examples with the vowel, odd. The odd of Sutra Ad Gurnaha, literally after a, means after a or a. That can't be. Oh, this is odd, the ablative case. The mentioned in the Shiva Sutra are iurna, stands for a and a. The us, meaning genitive of means when replacing ul. Arnudit. So this arn, that is a siglum, arn. Starting with a, what would that be? What set of sound? Arn, if that's a retroflex one. E.
U.
Or it can have the longer reading too. Ern occurs twice as an it.
Oh, sure enough. For all of the everything before nasals, everything more sonorous than a nasal.
Leading up to the end. Very good. Yeah, that's the set. Arnudit.
How do we know which it is?
That is an excellent question. We have to know the language well enough or have a good commentary that will tell us. Arnudit. Savarnasya. What form is that? Savarnasya. Savarnasya.
Why do I feel like you asked me this question yesterday?
I don't know if it was this particular word, but this ending occurs a lot because this is a very frequent class of nouns. When you say that you feel I asked yesterday, does that mean you remember? Or just that the question seems familiar sounding?
The latter. I feel like I'm disappointing you by not having all this ready to go in my brain.
So that's alright, we just gotta repeat until it sticks. The sya is a very important one to recognize. Think of...
I want to say it's da.
No, it is a singular one. Maybe devasya, buddhasya. I don't know if they'll jog your memory, but these are how they go. This sya will show up a lot in the language. It is the...
Oh, ngus.
Exactly, ngus, gender singular. Yeah. It's not savarnaha, it's not just the basic us being added, it's not devaha, that's only nominative plural. Devasya. The Indo-European thing that reflects is osyo, which is preserved in Greek too, although it loses the S and the Y there. This is kind of a mind-bendy sutra. I don't quite understand. In a sutra, the udit, the vowels, arn, including yava, l, replace their savarna too. They replace their home organic one too, unless they are affixes. Okay, should we turn to Egyptian? I guess if you could share that link if you haven't already. I'll open it up in the browser.
Yeah. Here is the one I was reading before. They're shared.
Good, Frisian, yeah. So we got a
I
Swiss...
just read the etymology of the word pharaoh down at the bottom.
Pharaoh, okay. Oh yeah, we did look over this table, and it was quite good. Oops, jumping all over the place. Chaja. Kheper. Since not everyone studying Egyptian wants to tangle with the problems of restoring its pronunciation, yeah, it's a pretty select bunch of people that want to do that. Two convenient devices have been adopted. Add ease where necessary. So, Kheper and Nefer. Since few non-Arabists have occasion to learn to pronounce 3 and 9, do you know how he's using 9? That's the Ein. 9 is Ein, and 3 is glottal stop, if I recall. Tell me if I'm wrong. Just pretend they're the vowel ah. So, Ra. In context, this is unobjectionable, but as people have gradually gotten the idea that Ra was really pronounced Ra, Alan Gardner's own warning might be repeated. This caution is never mentioned in public discourse. Oh yeah, the gee whiz narration of the bad shows. Some words from Egyptian can be restored. Let me get in a little closer. For example, one of the names of Amenhotep III was Nebeme'atra, a tongue twister if there ever was one, meaning Ra, so that final part, is the Lord of Truth. How cool. Lord of Truth. But we have the whole name in Akkadian from the Amarna archive. That's excellent. They wrote and represented vowels. Nimwariya. Or Nibmuariya. So the T is not there from the Egyptian name. For the first word, Lord, Neb, the vowel is clearly an I, Nib. Right. Nib, and then with assimilation, Nim. Second word is an important word to the Egyptians, Ma'arat, truth and justice. Mu'a raises a couple of questions. Where is the T? And where does the A go? The T is the feminine ending for a noun. In two related languages, Hebrew and Arabic, this is also the case, but for both of them the T is usually not pronounced in the nominative singular. Arabic ta marbuta. It's written with an H that it has the two T dots. The same thing seems to have happened in Egyptian. The verb ma'a is usually written with the interesting glyph. Do you know what that shape is? Is that like a sickle or something? This oblique, knifey looking one?
Yeah, it says that in the next
Sickle?
clause.
Okay, which is a combination of the pictogram for sickle, ma, with an obscure glyph that turns it into the phonogram M39. This is rather like what happened with Chinese characters, though the device advanced no further in hieroglyphics. I don't quite follow how it's like Chinese. Do you get that?
You would add something to make it phonetic.
Think of a parallel case.
Like, see. Not off the top of my head.
Alright, I won't worry about it. The noun truth, M39T, is written with the glyph show or ma'at, which originally was a pictogram for feather. Shawui then became a phonogram shawa, as in Shaw, the god of the air, Shu. Feather is then used for an ideogram or genetic determinative in one writing of ma'at as. So that cluster, and then the arm is for the glottal stop. No, that's for ein. The loaf of bread for the T, and then the feather, and then a papyrus scroll. Finally becomes an ideogram in ma'at. What is the subject of this clause? The feather becomes an ideogram. The feather was evidently the symbol of the goddess M39T. And let's just review this here. Oh, wait. There's a tiny feather on the head there. Looks
Yeah,
like.
she has the feather on top
Oh,
of her head.
cool. Oh, nice.
That's so we can. Yeah.
And her image always made for a determinative or ideogram in alternate writing. Her image always made for that. I don't understand what this is telling me. The word.
Oh wow! So I think it means instead of drawing the feather, you could draw a whole picture of her.
And her image always made for in an alternate writing. Okay. The word M319 often written as ma'at with the vocalization convention. Now, however, we can see that the main vowel was u. And from the information about syllable structure in Coptic, we can say that the ah is the vowel of the feminine ending without the t. So the full, here we get it, the full vocalization for late Egyptian was mu-ah. Looks like a cluster of glottal stop and ayin. Pretty cool. Mu-ah. Egyptian may seem more guttural than the reader expects, but that is characteristic of the group of languages to which Egyptian belongs. Only Arabic still preserves all the sounds, but even Hebrew still writes them in the traditional spelling. The last part of Amenhotep III's name is the name of the sun, Ra'. Ra' itself we know from Coptic as Ro-Ada, i.e. Ray in Greek. This comes out in Akkadian as Riya, Akkadian. Thus the central vowel is a long E, so it's a Riya. It is the general impression that long E's in Coptic come from long I's in Egyptian. Oh dear, the English vowel names. The Akkadian version doesn't show us, where was that Akkadian? Riya. It doesn't show us the ayin, but it does throw in an extra ah. Such an ah, however, is a familiar phenomenon from Hebrew and Arabic. Guttural consonants are hard to pronounce at the ends of words. The word Messiah in Hebrew is actually written as though it were pronounced Mashich, Mashicha. But this is a convention to indicate that it is really pronounced Mashiach, with the ah inserted to ease the transition from the long E to the Ch. Mashiach. No such writings occur in Arabic, but in spoken Arabic it is clear that a transitional ah is frequently heard in words like ruah, that's right, spirit, or the imperative verb go. That comes out as ruah. Egyptians certainly did the same thing. Riyah would have been difficult enough to pronounce that it became riyah in speech, which is what got picked up in the Akkadian transcription. The accompanying diagram, wonder where, oh, this one above, shows the difference between an ideographic and a phonetic writing for R9. Okay, very important. So, let's see. The ideographic would be sun with a stroke below, right? And a phonetic writing has mouth for R, arm for the ein, and a sun determinative. And then this final one has the God determinative added to them. Note that the difference between the word Riyah, meaning sun, and Riyah, meaning sun god, is the generic determinative for God. Cool. Can I highlight just that? No. A single graph. Actually, maybe let's try to write this real quick. In our...
Okay.
Right, where are we going to put it, though? Doesn't really show up well in the chat. Let me open that spreadsheet up.
Okay.
Rosetta Stone.
Okay, so we're looking for the Gardner numbers for these glyphs in the
Yes.
sample.
Yeah, let's do that. R9, Sun God. Oops. So I've added a new tab to the spreadsheet. Put the transliteration there, and we want, it's going to be 4 symbols, the mouth and the arm for phonetics. Oh, and let me get, oops, not there. So body parts is D21 for the mouth.
And which god can that be? Who is it?
And then the arm, also body parts. Now,
This is a Ra.
so many similar ones. I think it's this one. D36.
I got my sequence typed in the chat.
Oh, great. D21. D42, you say? Huh. Are you sure it's that and not D36?
Let's see, what's D36? It could be. I don't know exactly which
I'm looking
hand
at
it is.
both. Right. Now, 42. Those look alike to me. 42
Oh,
has a downward turn hand. The palm is down.
okay. Yeah. So it should
Agree?
be actually D36.
Okay, good. And then N.
Yeah, that's the phonetic ayin when you click on it. D36 is correct. I'm sorry.
Don't
Not
sorry.
D42.
Good. N5. Then N is for heaven. What else? What was our other mnemonic for N in the sky? Anyway, the fifth one for that sun.
In is ciel terreau.
Good. By the way, look how this generator is stacking the hieroglyphs without having been prompted. And then you say C1. Okay, C divinité. Is it the one with the jug on his head?
Uh,
I don't think so.
Actually, what that is the sun on his head.
Ah,
That's Ra or Ra or
Ria.
something
Yeah,
when you click on it. But he has the sun on his head, so that's why
seems a good choice
we
though.
know that.
What I don't like is that it keeps moving my cursor to the left. Don't want that. Good, we got it. And is that part of his headgear that's sticking up? And now here it just pastes them all in a row. But that's okay. Ria.
Yes, if you let's see, if you look at, I think it, you look at in 6, you
Okay.
will see the
Oh yeah.
alloglyph of the sun that has the snake around it.
Alglyph. Very nice. Let's take a look. N6?
Yes, that's
Sneaky
the
snake.
alloglyph of the sun with the snake around it.
Oh,
That is what our little icon of Ra has on his head.
super. Actually, Ria is not a proper name at all. Various names of the sun god in Egypt are discussed elsewhere. The Egyptian pronunciation of Ria may seem difficult and strange. It then may be interesting to note that an important name from Hebrew would have posed similar difficulties. Jesus in Hebrew would have been Yeshua. With Ayin. It's Ya, Sh, U, Hu. Do you know what the dot means? Do you see the dot on the Vav there?
Yes.
Do you know what that means?
Uh,
I do not.
I don't. I think it is one of the Nikud,
Huh.
which were not explicitly taught in the Duolingo
Okay.
course.
Yeah. The Yeshua, anyway, this name from the root Yesha, to be saved, to be helped, to be victorious. The Ayin indeed may have no longer been pronounced in Jesus' day, where it would be pronounced in Arabic. A curious thing has happened. Though the original form of the name is preserved as Yasua, so Yasua. The name occurs much more commonly with the Ayin transposed to the front. That's right, Isa, with that long A sound written with a Ya shape, though. This is certainly easier to pronounce, though why the change occurred in this word and not in others is a good question. Another,
Oh,
huh? But
if
note
I
that
had to guess about this dot in the Vav, it could be maybe it makes it the vowel form, the U, but I
maybe,
really don't know.
yeah, I will try to do some digging there. This is certain. Okay. Another example of vocalization we might consider is the word pharaoh. This comes from Hebrew par, and this is the shava, right? The two stacked dots under the R.
Yes.
Nice. And then it's oh, oh, parwah, parah. In Egyptian, we find PR9-3, so 3 glottal stop instead of the H, which means great house. I love that the 3 curly shapes below the sign. That's the transliteration. Good luck pronouncing that. Ah, right? How helpful.
9-3.
Yeah. It's pronounced 9-3, means great, and per means house. So it's house great. What kind of compound would you call that?
The great house in order to mean the pharaoh.
Yeah, what are some possibilities? I think there's two plausible ways to interpret it.
Okay, I would say that it means the person who has the great house, and
Yeah.
therefore none of the elements in the compound are referring to the referent of the whole noun, making it a bahuvrihi.
That is an excellent interpretation, I think. If it were referring to the house, what kind of compound would that be?
Oh, tatpurash.
Purusha. Yep. There's a specific sub.
Tatpurusha.
I'll put it in the chat. That's kind of a neat looking word. I like it when the T and P come together. There's Roman Tatpurusha. But this is a subtype. If it's and the rule in Panini to see when it's this subtype is if you if you were to break it apart, keep it as a phrase, would the two things be in the same case and number all throughout? Which they would. The great house, of the great house, to the great house, right? It would be
Okay.
nominative, and so on.
So it is the type of tatpurusha.
Uh-huh.
Tatpurusha.
Purusha.
Yeah.
Tatpurusha.
Okay.
The name of it starts with a
which
K.
is called.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does. Well, let me find it. I wrote it down.
Take your time. Good. I'm glad. Here's what Tatpurusha looks like.
Oh, yes. Oh, no, that's Tatpurusha. You didn't make that.
The other one
Well, I'm finding that.
Uh-huh.
Do not worry.
Right.
Oh, I must have sent it to you a few days ago. Let me move that from the text to the Sanskrit note. Wait. No, that's Bahuvrihi. Oh, we're very close.
Let me mention another word relevant to the next paragraph. Should I just tell you?
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Karmadharaya. So the text continues, this became a synonym for the king, the great house compound. Synonym for the king about the time of Akhenaton, saying the great house did such and such would be the equivalent of saying today that the palace said or the White House said, in referring to the actions of a monarch or the American president. That's called metonymy, meaning transfer of a name. Can you break that one down into its parts? With Hebrew as the evidence, we say that par'a would have been vocalized parwa, like that, and later something.
Okay. What am I breaking down into its parts?
The word metonymy. What language does it come from, and what pieces do you recognize?
Looks Greek to me.
It is very
and
Greek.
I see meta as in beyond,
Good.
and nim as in name.
What about the O, though? What do you make of that?
I think it is there to make it nicer to say.
Well, I suppose that does kind of happen. A bit of glue in between, but since meta ends in a vowel, and if it were nim following, that would normally give meta nim, and that's not it. So let's refine our analysis. Take another approach there.
Okay, so two possible things is that meta is incorrect, and it's actually a root meto as the first component, or alternately, meta is correct, and we also have an O morpheme in there, meta O nim, and the A deletes.
I see, yes. That is possible, but the actual solution is that meta is abbreviated before a vowel initial second component. Onuma is the name.
Okay.
The final Y reflects the abstract noun forming suffix ia.
Okay, so the word for name actually has an O on the front.
Yep, in Greek it does. Onoma or onu,
Okay.
depending on dialect. We have it also
Oh,
in...
and in Japanese, O namae wa nan desu ka?
Maybe that's what that pre-vocalization is. Finally, let me mention an Egyptian word that ended up as a part of California history. When I was a child and visited the nearby Old California Mission at San Fernando, I was impressed how cool it was in the summer with its thick adobe walls, and I think he means temperature. Later I discovered that adobe wasn't always used in such missions. All the missions in San Antonio, Texas, 5 or more, were built of the plentiful Texas limestone. Several California missions like Carmel and Santa Barbara also ended up with stone churches. Actually, neither adobe nor stone are the best things for earthquake country like California. They're brittle materials and result in the sudden collapse of structures, but at least repairing earthquake damage to adobe might be easier than repairing cut stone. The great stone church San Juan Capistrano still is a ruin from its collapse in the earthquake of 1812. Now, adobe is the Spanish word for mud brick. There is a folk etymology for this in Spain, but it actually seems to have been borrowed from the Arabic word atub. So, do you know about sun letters and moon letters in Arabic?
Are you familiar with that?
With what?
The sun letters and moon letters. Do you know what those are, Tyler?
I do, yeah.
Okay. It mentions them a little. Please
Oh, it mentioned them later?
share
There
with
we
me.
go. Ha, it's coming up. Spanish has quite... Okay, the Shems is sun, and that's coronal. The L assimilates to it. So those coronal initials have that effect. You won't hear the L of the article. Spanish has quite a few words from
Okay.
Arabic whose origins don't often get acknowledged. Spanish words that begin with al are always suspicious, but in this case the Arabic begins with the sun letter th, which means it assimilates the L. But atub is not ultimately from Arabic. It is itself borrowed from Coptic, which has the word tob, how slithy. Mud brick, and as we might expect, the Coptic word is ultimately from the Middle Egyptian word for mud brick. Now, the underlined D is a j, right?
That's
Jibbet,
right.
jibbet. With a phonogram for jib and an ideographic determinative for brick. How suitable, just a rectangle. Thus, looking at the California missions, we use the same word for the same objects that the Egyptians commanded the Israelites to make for the palaces of Pharaoh before the Exodus. Sun and moon. Hodak Qutb, Sayyid Qutb, yeah.
Oh, can you teach us a little more about these sun and moon letters? Which ones are sun? Which ones are moon?
So, if I say coronal, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Those are the ones that are sun letters. Anything dental, and I guess it's just dental. Oh, Shems. That one has a palatal. Dental palatal. There's really just the one palatal, though, right? I guess Ja? Al-Ja. That one doesn't do it because that comes from a velar, I think. So the labials, they just stay. What do we have? Let's do some Arabic. Let's see what letters we find. I think Arabic is good to do in conjunction with Egyptian. Maybe we'll even see some articles on nouns. We can keep going.
That.
Ved. So the, that's interdental, still coronal, I believe. So that would be adhet, if that were a word.
Root.
Oh, this one has... Okay, the basic letter, the first one is a emphatic T. When it's dotted, that means it is voiced and a fricative. So the, thut is the sound.
That.
That.
What. That.
How nice. Can you hear these two?
What.
Say it again.
That. What.
I mean, can you hear when I play the recordings? Oops, darn.
Yes.
What.
What?
That.
Okay, so
I
all
could just a
the
moment
initials
ago.
we've seen so far, being the, emphatic or non-emphatic, those would be sun letters. L assimilates to it.
Okay.
Deet is this one.
Root. Root. Root.
There it is.
Root.
Okay, what a cool, subtle difference here.
Root.
Root.
ذوت ضوت
There's a tension in the tongue root, I feel, for the emphatic ones. V versus
ذوت
Voot. There's no such tension.
ضوت ضيت
A bleat.
ذوت
All sunny all the way through here. The plain the.
ذيت
Veet.
ذيت ضاط
Vod. Okay, so that one. V-a-t.
ضاط.
We want
Oh,
v.
did I write the word for the subtype of the compounds? I found it now.
I don't believe you read. If you wrote it in the chat, it did not come through to me. It's not g.
There it is.
No, it's not a karma gharaya.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It'd be this one. I mixed those two up. They look a lot alike. Just open and closed.
So let's come up with a mnemonic. Closed. That ought to do it.
I just think of how the d looks like when it's stuck to the other d, right? Like in verti.
Here you go. Closed and opened.
Okay,
Hope that helps.
that works too.
ضغط
Veet, the plain.
ذيت
The. Voot will be
ذوت
this one. Leet. Leet is going to be 3.
ضيت
Voot. Vahoot.
ضوت
Vet. It's going to be nice and short.
ذت
Number 1.
ذت 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 ضت ذت.
Ah, cool. So all sun letters there, the initial ones. Of course, the plain T, emphatic T, also sun letters. S and Esh, and the emphatic Sa, those are all sun letters. N as well.
هل مدينتك مزدحمة يامها؟
Wow. هل مدينة what?
هل مدينتك مزدحمة يامها؟
مزدحمة.
مزدحمة.
Is your city crowded? Mahab.
جاري إبراهيم لبناني.
جاري إبراهيم Lubnani. And the L is a sun letter too. Well, actually L logically presents a bit of a puzzle. What's the definition of a sun letter? That the L assimilates to it. So when L meets L, we said Al-Lubnan has the L of the stem assimilated, or no, has the L of the article assimilated or not. 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
جاري إبراهيم لبناني.
Singular L. It's not double L, which only the name of God has.
No, the name of God has a triple L, is what makes it distinct.
Oh, okay, that's it. Okay.
Double L is nothing unusual.
جاري إبراهيم لبناني.
Jari, my neighbor. And here we have an apposition. Ibrahim. Ibrahim. And then we need to insert is. Do you know what Lubnani means?
Lubnani.
Lubnani. Lebanese.
هل مدينتك باريس يا سام؟
هل مدينتك باريس يا سام؟
معلمتك جودي.
معلمتك جودي. معلمتك. Your teacher.
جارة تعبانة.
Jara. This is that feminine thing. This called a ta marbuta. The final letter in
جارة.
represents that T suffix, but where it's gone silent or just was aspirated, something, became H-like. So the letter there is a compromise between the double-dotted T and the H. Jara.
Okay,
جارة
and it would have
تعبانة.
been spelled loaf of bread in Egyptian.
Loaf of bread, yeah. That's the marker. And then it's ta-bana.
تعبانة.
Tired.
جارة تعبانة.
جارة تعبانة. The neighbor is tired. A tired neighbor. Because there's no marking. I believe that's the rule. Yes. Not a neighbor is tired. It'd be an odd sentence.
معلمتك روزا غريبة يا سامية.
معلم. This L is double.
معلمتك.
Okay, hard to see. But you see the shedda on top of that first la letter?
معلمتك.
Doubling sign. Looks like a W. It's kind of nice. W for doubling. Right?
I feel like I've
معلمتك.
noticed that before. Yes, I see it.
There we have a double L in this word for teacher. معلمتك.
معلمتك روزا غريبة يا سامية.
غريبة يا سامية. So it means your teacher, Rosa, غريبة is strange. يا سامية.
Oh, and this
What do you see?
teacher. This name Rosa has no connected letters.
Right. They're all enders.
هل جودي معلمتك يا سامية؟
هل جودي
هل جودي هل جودي معلمتك يا سامية؟ معلمتك يا سامية.
Can you translate that?
هل جودي معلمتك يا سامية؟
Do you remember what the hel is? In Hebrew, we have ha'im for this meaning.
هل جودي معلمتك يا سامية؟
Exactly. That's what hel does here. هل جودي معلمتك. And then the rest is evocative. It's not internal to the sentence.
Judy is a name. Halimatek is a teacher.
Yep. What gender teacher?
Can you say it again?
معلمتك. معلماتك it should be. Sorry. معلماتك. Like matic at the end.
I think feminine.
Yes, good. Here, because it's not word final, the T stays a T. معلماتك. So, معلم for the teacher word, at, feminine suffix, and then ik, possessive. معلماتك.
What's the masculine form of this word?
معلم. I believe. Just ended at that second M. معلم.
جارتي كري جوعانة.
And here too, جارتي, feminine, and E for my neighbor, my female neighbor, Carrie. What's that? Who?
جارتي كري جوعانة.
جوعانة is hungry.
جوعانة.
Because the noun phrase is definite, my neighbor Carrie, the meaning is a sentence. My neighbor Carrie is hungry. It's not my hungry neighbor Carrie. I think you'd use an L somewhere for that.
هل معلمتك روزا غريبة يا سام؟
Similar to the last one. هل معلمتك روزا غريبة يا سام. Is your teacher Rosa strange? Sam.
معلمتك روزا غريبة يا سام.
معلمتك روزا غريبة يا سام. Your teacher Your teacher Rosa is strange, Sam.
جار وجارة.
جار وجارة. Neighbor, male and female neighbor. What do they want from me? Neighbor and neighbor? A neighbor and a neighbor?
مدينتك كبيرة يا سامية.
Okay, do you remember Medina, what that means?
City.
Good. And atik at the end says your city, also a feminine word. That's why it gets the T. Kabira. is
Does
big.
that mean that the city of Medina is just named city?
Yep. The city, I guess, or not. So that, speaking of sun letters, this one, the M does not cause the L to assimilate. We call it a moon letter. The non-sun letters are moon letters. Madinatik Kabira, yeah, Samia. Your city is big, Samia.
جارتي جودي
Oh, M
أمريكية.
for moon.
What's that? I didn't hear what you said. It's a little quiet, and now I can't hear you at all.
M for moon, because it's a moon letter.
Very true. S for sun. Sun is a Shems is a sun letter. S and Esh both. So what's this? Jarati. No, what's this? Judy. Emrikia. Jarati. What's Jarati?
Yeah. I don't know.
Neighbor, female. My female neighbor, American.
جاري سام وجاري إبراهيم.
Jari Sam. Wajari Ibrahim. My neighbor Sam and my neighbor Ibrahim.
هل مدينتك مزدحمة يا بوب؟
Oops. هل
هل مدينتك مزدحمة يا بوب؟
مزدحمة. Is your city crowded, Bob? Your teacher, Rosa, is weird, Samia. Let's just square bank it. So, for your teacher and it's female, it's going to be معلمتك. معلمتك.
معلمتك.
روزا.
روزا.
غريبة. غريبة.
غريبة.
يا سامية.
سامية.
Where is your city? Oh, what's the word for where? And what's this? Aina. Aina Medinatek. Yajudi. Aina.
أين.
Rather. Medinatik.
مدينتك.
يا جودي.
جودي.
Okay. Very detailed info on pronunciation. That's great. But I want to go to the next lesson. How do I get there, Brother Tom?
The lesson of what?
Oh, this doesn't have lessons. This is all just one text on this page. The Frisian.
Yeah, I believe so. It seems more like this person's various thoughts about it that were, well informed.
Right. All very helpful. What next? What do you feel like?
I don't know.
Well, we haven't listened to the Sutra part. Let's do that. At least. With our Shiva Sutrarni.
Ayuna Rudraka Evom Ayauj Hayavarat Lan Nyamangananam Jabhaya Ghadadash Jabagadash Kapha Chatha Chatatav Kapaya Shashasar Hal Iti Maheshwarani Sutrani अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः प्रथमः पादः वृद्धिरादैच अदेङ्गुणः इको गुणवृद्धि न धातुलोप आर्धधातुके इति च दीधिवेवीटाम् हलोऽनन्तराः संयोगः मुखनासिका वचनोऽनुनासिकः तुल्यास्य प्रयत्नं सवर्णं नाज्झलौ ईदूदेद्विवचनं प्रगृह्यम् अदसोमात् शे निपात एका जनाङ् ओत् सम्बुद्धौ शाकल्यस्येतावनार्षे उञः ऊ ईदूतौ च सप्तम्यर्थे.
By the way, quick note, what's the difference between the Chandra Bindu and the Anuswara? Well, graphically, the Anuswara is just a dot, and as you know, the Chandra Bindu has that bowl shape. But phonetically, Chandra Bindu means that it's a nasalized vowel. It's really just a vowel segment. There is no consonant, whereas Anuswara means that a vowel consonant, a weakened is segmentally there after a vowel. Anuswara, anu is like we have an anunasika. Swar is a root for sound. Anuswara means the after sounder.
दाधाघ्वदाप् आद्यन्तवदेकस्मिन् तरप्तमपौघः बहुगणवतुडति संख्या श्नान्ता षट् डति च तक्तवतो निष्ठा सर्वादीनि सर्वनामानि विभाषादिक्समासे बहुव्रीहौ न बहुव्रीहौ.
And these are those locative singular forms where au replaces the stem final.
तृतीया समासे द्वन्द्वे च विभाषाजसि प्रथमचरमतयाल्पार्धकतिपयनेमाश्च पूर्वपरावरदक्षिणोत्तरापराधराणि व्यवस्थायामसंज्ञायाम्.
Let's quickly look at the explanation there of these are long lists of stems. It's still in the pronoun section of this 1134. 1134. New home page. 11. Prathama Charamatayal Pardhakatipainemascha. This we looked through. These stems are optionally pronouns before just. That jasi from the sutra above continues. And the next one, Prathama. Yeah, we started talking about these. First, Charama, last. Tayal Pardhakatipaya. Taya. Is that ordinal? What is Taya? Alpa, few. Ardha, half. Katipaya. Nema, also meaning half. These are optionally pronouns before just. Purva. A nice long one. Purva para varadakshinottara paradharani vyavasthayama sanjñayam. Look at this nice spelling. Capital J, lowercase capital. The capital J stands for enya, vowel nasal. Here it's written with an anuswara, sun, and this is a ligature, jña, sanjña. This is a good compound to know. Jña root means to know, it's cognate, and a sanjña is like a technical term. Tag, he's saying. So, but, purva, para, apara, dakshina, uttara, apara, adhara. Well, these stems are optionally pronouns before just when they mean relative position and are not tags. Asanjñaya.
This root to know is cognate to ours.
Exactly right.
We had decay all the way.
That's right.
Up into Old English, and then we silenced it, and they went ahead and turned it into a j.
The j, and that affected the n too. Very good. Good eye. And in fact, the only word I know where we still have a k sound in this word family of English is acknowledge. Both the prefix and the suffix occur only in this, well, not the edge, the ledge rather, is also in knowledge, but they're confined to this root. It's a bit of an oddity, this one. So pronoun.
Do we know that? Do we know that we're pronouncing the K here? We could just be pronouncing the C from the end of ak.
But what is ak? I suppose not. I suppose it's unknowable, ultimately. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. It's closing that syllable. Note what happens when the final of dakshina meets the beginning sound of uttara. What's the outcome?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. We have two stems next to each other, dakshina, which ends in a. The following one is uttara. What happens at that juncture is my question. A meets u. We don't get sequences of vowels.
Let's take a look.
Mm-hmm.
We see dakshina dakshino tara.
Good. So
Dakshinotara.
replacing both of those sounds, a single o is how we pronounce it. Purva means before. Para has many meanings. Let's get a good one. Par is there.
I'm starting to get the hang of why those are short diphthongs.
Of why they are.
Yeah.
Para, distant. Yeah, distant is good. Avara. Oh, this is the source of or, like furthermore, beyond. You know, or in Hindi comes from this avara. Old Gujarati, Sanskrit, avara. Lower.
Oh, it looks like you're looking up the word par. That means, well, in modern Hindi, it's like, it's a, what is it called? A or a postposition.
This is not modern
like
Hindi.
Mez par on the table.
This is not Hindi, though. Dakshina means either the left hand, the right hand, or it means south. It's related to dexterity. Uttara has that root ud, means higher or northern. Appara, these I would confuse a lot. Appara is not spelled out there. Appara. Further away. Para, having nothing beyond, having no rival, unsurpassed is one meaning. Or it can be posterior, later, latter. Inferior, lower. So it can either mean having no rival or it means inferior. Cool. Look at this. In Hindi, the word para has 5 meanings are given here. No, 4 actually. And adhara, I think, means lower. And it would be connected to our word under, if I'm not mistaken. Adhara. Yep, cognate with in, ferus, Old English, under. The accent shift is irregular. Adhara. Tending downwards. These are optionally pronouns.
द्वन्द्वे च विभाषाजसि प्रथमचरमतयाल्पार्धकतिपयनेमाश्च पूर्वपरावरदक्षिणोत्तरापराधराणि व्यवस्थायामसंज्ञायाम्.
Vyavastha. V-ava. That is a double prefix on it. Vyavastha. You have to spell it differently. Vyavastha. And this yam at the end of a feminine noun, ending in a long vowel, that replaces ni. This is a locative singular. Sanskrit vyavastha. Okay. Arrangement, preparation, order, system. When they mean relative position. Vyavasthayam. So locative meaning in the sense of relative position, and asanjña, and when they are not tags. So it's an exception to the exception of the preceding sutra. Purve deshaha, the eastern countries. These are in the same case, but note the different suffixes. A for the pronominal. Ita means in the alternative. Purva deshaha. Why do we say when they mean relative position? Purvaha can mean previous, Dakshinaha can mean dexterous. No pronounhood allowed in any such senses. Why do we say unless when tags? If you're in Hawaii, you may use Appari to mean countries west of here, like China and Japan. And you can use Purvi to mean countries east of here. But if you use Purva to mean countries of the Far East, namely China, that's a tag, a proper noun. So it does not get to be pronoun, and you must say Purvaha, not Purve. This is still all about the just forms of these words. Isn't that nice?
स्वमज्ञातिधनाख्यायाम्
Swamajñati dhanakhyayam. Let's get the lexical words of this one. Swam. Swa is optionally a pronoun before just when it doesn't mean kinsmen or possessions. So, ajñati. It's interesting that it's ñati, not jati. I think in Hindi it became jati for this one. Kinsman. Dhana for possession. Do you recognize this swa? Do you know any derivatives of it?
Of which one?
Swa. The stem here. The very first one.
Vam.
Swa.
Uh,
You might have seen it in
and it
Swami.
means own ones.
One's own.
Oh, could
Swami.
it be the... Could it be like the se? Like reflexive se from like Latin and Spanish and those?
I believe so, yeah. Coming from swe. That's right. He in Greek. And you might be interested to know that Swabia is reconstructed to have this pronominal stem in it, meaning
Oh,
kinfolk.
cool.
Isn't that neat?
Mm-hmm. What's the other part?
Good question. I don't know if it's known. Let's see. If I say Swabia, Schwaben, Swabia, Swabas, Proto-Germanic. It just tells me that it's from Swe. Swabas. It could be from the Bhu root, I suppose. Swabas. Someone of the Swabi. But this has a modern meaning. A group of Germanic tribes living mostly near Elbe and was now central Germany around the 1st century BC. Nyati is really interesting. I want to check on that.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I'm looking at my map of Germany. See where that is. So you're from like the Studyard area, right? In Bath
Right.
Wordbury?
Yeah. That's right.
Bath Wordbury.
Endless joy. Nyati. To be born. Okay. Jnyati here. Kinsman, relative. And it's not the jnya root of knowing, but the root jen, to be born. Jen or jnya also.
Okay.
And look at the form in the sutra, swam ajñati. It's got a negative prefix. So, swam, referring to the word swa. If it's not, okay, this yam, again, locative singular, in the meaning of this. Jñati, kinsman, dhana, possession. But the negative there out in front negates all of that when it's not in the sense of kinsmen or possessions. So extremely concise, but not very easy to parse if you were just encountering this.
Okay. Oh, we've officially done more than half of the first Padaha.
That's a good feeling. That's nice. I think. Any questions left for today? I might be inclined to call it a day.
Okay.
Sound good? Anything special going on tomorrow? Your grandparents leaving town?
They are, but we already said goodbye to them as they want to leave pretty early.
I see. So we'll be joining for Korean then?
Actually, I will not. I feel bad for missing it a lot, but actually tomorrow I'm visiting my other grandma who remains in town.
Okay.
To work on my. She's going to help me work on my statement of purpose for my PhD applications.
Sounds like a winner. Maybe I'll see you in the evening then.
Okay.
Have a good one.